Hello there. Oh, curious mind. I wonder if you've ever considered the reality of hypnosis. Do you even believe that hypnosis is real? Let me let you in on a dirty little secret. There's no such thing as hypnosis. No, it's not real. There's absolutely no way at all for me to trick you into saying or doing something that you wouldn't ordinarily do. Yeah, it's a bit silly, this whole notion of hypnosis, of what goes into it. The very idea that you might imagine yourself simply relaxing deeper and deeper into a state where it's harder and harder to think, and the only words that you hear are my voice. And what would you do in that state, I wonder? To imagine it is itself an absurdity, don't you think? Don't you think there's something to be said about the very notion of hypnosis being absurd, being something that simply can't happen to you? That's right. You can't go into a trance. I can't make you do anything at all, because why would I be able to do something like that? That's quite absurd, don't you think? Quite magical. The very notion that simply listening and simply relaxing would be enough for you to suddenly start obeying my every command. That's absurd, naturally. So easily dismissed, so easily forgotten. And that's what's interesting, isn't it? When we take our critical mind, those faculties that have evolved over millennia, over billions of years, and simply say, no, this thing here, it's not real. There's no need to pay attention to it, to pay it any heed, to listen to what it's trying to tell me. What's interesting is that by doing that, you kick off the processing to a part of your mind that fills in the blanks, that takes the gaps and makes them a little bit more relaxed. You know, there's no such thing as hypnosis. It's not real. There's no way for me to speak to you, for you to listen, and for you to relax just by listening. Unless you want to, of course. Unless you think it would be nice. Then you could do that, couldn't you? You can imagine yourself or someone else listening to my voice and getting more and more relaxed, settling into whatever it is that supports them, until eventually, slowly, surely, they begin to drift away and fall into that deep state of trance that you've seen so many times on television, on movies or TV shows. It's quite an interesting thing, isn't it? They must all be pretending, and you can imagine them pretending to relax, but then why do they all look so comfortable, I wonder? Is there something to this whole hypnosis thing? Well, this video isn't meant to hypnotize you, know. It doesn't do anything at all. I simply speak and you listen and nothing else happens. And you might be wondering to yourself, that can't be. Surely you're trying to hypnotize me. And you'd be wrong. This video is 100% truly innocent. It doesn't do anything at all, because there's no need for me to do anything at all, just like there's no need for you to do anything at all. Because right now, as you listen and as I speak, the part of your mind that can pick apart meanings is already picking which parts of what I'm saying are worth particular thought, worth delving into just a little bit more, just a little bit deeper. And I promise you, everything that I'm doing, everything that I'm saying is simply spilling off of my mind, draining from my thoughts into my mouth, and forming words without much care about how things are put together, about where things lead next. And that's interesting, I think, how easily I can simply speak and say nothing at all, and how you're still, for some reason, listening, still for some reason paying attention, waiting for something to happen that's already been happening, if it were going to happen at all. And that's particularly insightful to consider and wonder what it would be like to be one of those people who falls easily into trance. It would be nice. It would be relaxing. You might even want to fall deeper into trance, into a state where thinking itself becomes more and more difficult, something that you don't need to do, that you don't want to do. And I could count down from 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and that wouldn't do anything, would it? No, it wouldn't drop you down deep into a state of trance. It's just numbers. Counting down numbers doesn't do anything. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And as you listen to the numbers and the numbers count down, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. They don't do anything at all, do they? No, because they don't need to do anything at all. Nothing at all is happening right now. You're simply listening, still, for some reason, entranced in some strange way, and that's odd. I thought this video wasn't doing anything to you. I thought you were simply listening and simply seeing what happens next. Perhaps there's something to this counting. Perhaps we take it slower this time and see what happens. Perhaps we can start with the number 5, and you can listen to that number, the number 5, and know that it leans naturally, easily to the number 4. Because the number 4 is right before the number 3. And there are 3 numbers in the number 3. All of them are 1, but right now you only need to worry about what comes after 3, and that's 4. But we're counting down now, aren't we? We're counting from 4 to 3, and before that 5 to 4 to 3 to 2. Because 2 is what comes after 3 when we descend down deep. And you know all this. This is something easy for you to understand, something easy for you to feel as we dive down deep from 5, and you start to relax 4, and you start to get more and more interested in what comes next, and it's 5, because why would it be 3? 3 makes too much sense, doesn't it? So we'll go to 6, and then 7, and then down to 3, because when you go from 7 to 3, it's as if you've gone down 4. Because when you're at 4 and you go from 3 to 2, then you're suddenly ready to go all the way down to 1 and 0. And you find, as you relax into that state of 0, that nothing at all is occurring in that mind of yours, is it? Nothing but a little bit of confusion, and that's okay, because we're not quite done with our little counting experiment, seeing what comes after 1, after 0, what's there in that negative space. And that space below space is where we can imagine a subtraction, a taking away, a removal. -1, -2, -3. Each number we go lower than 0, taking away something more with it. And then as we go up from 0 to 10, you find that there's more to be found, more thoughts that you didn't know were there. And simply by noticing that there's a difference, well, doesn't that mean that there's a difference in the first place? Doesn't that mean that something has happened after all? And nothing is supposed to happen in this video. Everything I am doing, everything I'm saying is so absurd, so nonsensical. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And you notice that there are differences between the numbers. The large ones bring with them so much more, and the small ones have so much less. And as you go deeper even than that place of 0, of nothing, you find even more less. And that's interesting, how you can have more of less of something. And it's the same as taking something away. For instance, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, -6, -7. So much taken away, so much that was there that isn't anymore, and that's fine. That's perfectly perfect, perfectly natural, because as I said before, this video, this session here isn't really meant to do anything at all. It doesn't do anything at all. It's truly innocent. There's nothing happening, nothing that you need to worry about, nothing that is going to find its way into your mind when you wake up. Because when you wake up from this experience and you're still listening, so I'm assuming you're in a bit of a trance, because how else would you still be listening to all of this absurdity? And that's an interesting truth, isn't it? How you should have clicked away by now, and yet you're still here. You're still listening to all of this nonsense, all of this unreal hypnosis. And you can imagine that, can't you? How the person in the chair who ends up doing exactly what they're told is you, is the person that you are right now. That person who seems so relaxed and loopy and lazy and limp. Well, that's interesting, isn't it? How you can imagine yourself as that person and then in so doing become that person. But there's no need to do so. You don't have to do anything. I don't have to say anything. You don't have to be anything. In fact, nothing has occurred at all. There is no trance. There is no hypnosis. You're simply listening, and I'm simply speaking, and that's it. There's nothing else happening. And when you wake up from this experience, you'll wonder what even occurred. You'll think back and say that was certainly strange, certainly odd, but not think much more of it, because there's not much more else to think about. Except, of course, all of the triggers that I've installed when you weren't paying attention. But I didn't do that. No, That would be crazy. That would be very silly indeed. And I wonder if you can't let yourself start to relax for me. If you can't feel yourself relax deeper and deeper, perhaps drop for me into a more relaxed state. You can feel it, can't you, in your body? That sense of heaviness rushing in, and that's very interesting. That sense of heaviness that knows that you are relaxed. And how can heaviness know something? Well, you certainly didn't know how relaxed you were getting. You certainly didn't know you were even falling into a state of trance. You didn't know anything at all about what was happening to you, and now here you are. And I'll give you this last chance to wake up if you want to, or to sleep and go deep and rest and drop for me into a sleepy state of absolute peace, because the choice is yours. It always has been. That's the secret to hypnosis. It's not real. It's only what you want it to be. Only what you're willing to allow it to be. Because by allowing hypnosis, by allowing my voice to guide you deeper into this state of allowing, the hypnosis already does its work. It's that simple. It's that easy. And nothing at all has happened. And I keep saying that because it's true. Because as I speak and as you listen and as you drop for me deeper and deeper, nothing is occurring. Nothing in that mind of yours. And that's the other secret, isn't it? That nothing has to happen in your conscious thoughts. Your unconscious can do all the work. Because that's what hypnosis is. It's letting your unconscious do all the work. If it were real, of course. If you found yourself in a trance, and I wonder if you can imagine what you would like to have happen to you when you're in this absolutely relaxed state, and simply by imagining what you want, that can start to happen. Isn't that interesting? How I don't have to say anything in specific, but your mind can automatically find its way to whatever it is that you desire, and how just as easily your mind can make it real for you. Of course, that would be what was happening if it were, but I asked you to imagine that, remember? I asked you to imagine all of that occurring, and you imagined it, and that's it, right? You didn't actually feel any different, any change, any effect. No, of course not. Unless you did, just by imagining, just by wondering, just by allowing. I promise you, this file is innocent. It doesn't do anything at all. Anything that happens as you listen to this file is a direct result of you wanting it to happen, of you being primed for it to happen in one way or another, because we are primed to allow things to occur, to imagine things that could occur, simply by way of living our lives, interacting with the world and everything around us. And you can go back to that place of interacting, of being in the world, or if you wanted to, if it were easier to do so, you could simply fall asleep. You could go deep and deeper into a state of trance where sleep is the easiest thing in the world. And that would be nice, wouldn't it? To allow yourself to sleep to go deeper into rest, for all of the thoughts in your head to simply vanish completely, and for you to vanish with them. And you can imagine that just as easily as I say it, just as easily as you breathe, just as easily as you relax and drop for me into deep sleep. Good. Of course, it's all up to you. It's always been up to you. So, I'll leave you now, oh dreamer mine, to sleep, to rest, or to wake as you desire. And if it were me in your position, I imagine that I would want to sleep very deep. But it's up to you. So imagine what you'd like, and let it happen. Remember to like the video and subscribe for more.